Guys, back in the video, and this time we'll be going over this deck I've been excited to play, but I finally got the cards for it. So we're going to go over 18. Now, this is a leader that starts off the game with this field spell, Android 21 scheme in play, and basically this is the whole gimmick of their deck, is spamming these tokens to your opponent's side of the board. At the start of their turn, they get 2 tokens, and every time you play something for the first time, the auto triggers in this, and they can't attack that card, or say if it's even my player, like my turn, that player cannot attack with that card, so it basically slows down some other decks. But you can get around it by playing something first, then playing the card you want to attack with. So that's something to, like, the way to get around it. So basically, you're gonna eat a token every turn whenever you're on this side and draw a card, and that's how it draws on the front side. So you don't even have to attack. And you can just try to clear off threats. But then she also draws 2 when she awakens, and she can also take a life when she eats a token, which helps you self-awaken. You want to get to this side as fast as possible so you can stop eating tokens, and I'll get into detail about how that works more on this side. So you draw 2 awaken, so you want to get this side fast, attack, draw, and then it has another effect that's not that important. But basically she's really important because she's a blue leader that starts off with this, and she doesn't have that many specifications for drawing. And you gotta play a lot of tokens, and I probably need some more. Let's get into the list. So some of these cards came from Battle Evolution. So we got 2 Android 16 for his mother. This is what I said. I thought I was gonna need more, but you don't want to draw too many copies of this. It has unique as well, so and it's not that necessary for your deck to function, but it makes the tokens not be able to attack. And every time they would get a token on their opponent's turn, they get to get 2 more. So when you trigger this on your opponent's turn to give them 2, you give them 4. And you can also free play it from your drop or your hand by eating a token, which is pretty cool. Let's go here. Another card that eats a token. I only have 1 copy. I'm pretty sure I would only play 1 and maybe side another, but I don't only have 1 period right now. And she's a blocker, barrier, come into play. It has another effect as well, but typically it's not going to come into play because 5 energy is pretty a lot for this skill. But this used to be decent against Gogeta 7, which is something we don't really want to talk about right now. But she's just a barrier blocker, and you eat a token to play her if you don't have one to play. So she basically has unique. So 1 fine. 4 of the new Unison from Battle Evolution. This guy comes into play by eating a token. Fun, so for free, he comes into play for 1 woodward marker, and then he +2 to go to 3 markers. And so that free play actually does help a lot, and also boosts your leader 5k. It's pretty cool. And then they can attack with the tokens. If you have this on board for the next turn, you do the +2. But there's also cool things to do with this, and I'll go over in a second. To the defensive portion, we've got 4 beans. And since we're playing a blue leader, blue unisons, play 4 copies of Heroic Prospects and 4 copies of your counterplay trunks. Now, typically, you're just going to hold this if you don't see multiple copies for your finishing play against decks that can interact with it. So keep that in mind to hold on this. Basically make your combo where they can interact with it. And the last really good defensive blue card is Baby Hatch, since you're playing a blue leader. So you get to get all those good blue cards just because you're playing a blue leader and blue energy. So, and then your last really defensive card is Topo. This card is basically, you need to get to turn 5 or 4 for this deck to really be able to do what it's supposed to do. So this will help you get there. And also, this is recyclable, and we'll go into detail about how you can do that later. 2 check land. Yeah, I had to make room for a few other cards, but you really only need to see 1 blue-red check land, blue-red land period, or energy, however you want to word it. For Beerus Super Combo, this is a big part of your engine. You play 4 Boo. This card is super good in this deck. It recycles your Heroic Prospects and your Topos and your other cards as well, like say your coolers. So this is super important, and you want to see this. You don't really I'd rather charge this before charging this as your turn 1, but typically you just want to mulligan for your at least 1 red blue land. Whatever you draw else is pretty much going to be, you'll be Gucci as long as you draw into a red blue to start the charge. The rest of your energy will be blue, and you have to charge at least 1 more red if you get to turn 5 for that play. For the engine for the Wincon, this is just a generic 1 cost that you can play that draws your card and has another function. Because you do want to have something to play to get around this. And also, it's just a good card in general. Then you got 3 Mutable Menace. Yes, this deck is kind of pricey, but this is basically how you win. So you're going to pay the blue, activate main, and warp this guy from board and this guy from your drop, which you can pitch off topo, which is cool. So you don't have to combo it, or you can just combo it. It doesn't matter how you get it there. Then, and this guy recycles back a clan, so either one of these. And you pitch a card, so you can pitch this and grab back another cooler or a Frieza you combo it away or something. So get some free value there, and because you want this to drop. And then you can play this guy from your hand, and this is how you win the game. I'll get a little more detail in a second here. So, you know how most decks play a lot, like they go through their deck so fast and they want to draw cards and/or just put cards in their drop area. So this card says whenever you minus something, you get to mill them 2 cards, and he minuses everything on attack by 30k. So what you do is on your turn 4 or 5, depending on however you need, like depending on how many cards are left in their deck. That's basically a key part here. You play this either by hard casting on 5 if you have to, or with this package. And once you do, they cannot interact with it really with most cards. There's not many cards that can interact with this play. And then if the ones that do, you just counterplay Trunks them back to their hand, which is super good. You can free play the android or play this and then do this to play this. And they will have a buttload of tokens and whatever they already have on board that's been attacking you. So say on your kill turn, you want to have like a lot of tokens. Usually it's around 7 or whatever's on their board as well. So 11's max for what you really want, because they're going to go through their deck so fast and draw so many cards like they just normally do. If you're playing with Vegeks, that is a struggle for this deck to like deal with, but you can just kill them. But that's the struggle in itself. So this deck would have to play a little bit different against the deck. But basically, you're going to nuke all these tokens, and they're going to mill 2 for each, not including whatever they already had on board. And you have to include the fact that you're decking them out slowly with this. It just mills them 1, and you keep recycling and playing it to play defense at the same time, so it's achieving your win con. So basically, it is a Frieza 5-drop deck that just plays until you get to this point and play it safely for a game. But that's it pretty much for the deck. If you guys have any questions or you like the deck, please leave feedback in the comments and like this video.